Hello everyone and welcome to today's session, Office 365 External Sharing and Reporting with Syskit Point. My name is Mario Znika. I'm the lead product owner here at Syskit and I will be your host today. In today's short session, we are going to show you the key external sharing reports of Syskit Point. So for those of you that are new to the tool, Syskit Point is a comprehensive Office 365 governance solution created for admins and business users to easily govern their workspaces from a single pane of glass. This includes Office 365 inventory, access reporting, different governance policies, complete lifecycle management, analytics and usage metrics, security and alerting, and more. But in today's short session, we'll focus on site and team owners and how Syskit Point helps them to control external sharing and to keep an eye on external users' access, external users' activities and their access. Technical info before we start. If you have any questions, please use the Q&A feature in GoToWebinar and I'll be happy to answer them at the end of the session. Okay, so let's jump right into the presentation and see Syskit Point in action. So let me share my screen. Okay, so you see the screen. So this is the Syskit Point home screen. I'm logged in as a Cork Blanc. So the user who is business user who is owner of few teams and groups, so doesn't have any admin access. Okay, so if you and your company are working with different vendors or external agencies, at some point you will definitely have to share some documents with them or give them access to your teams to make collaboration easier. And here we come to potential problems. So after a few months, how do you actually know what you have shared to those guest users and where they have access? So let's see how Syskit Point can help. So as I mentioned, I'm Cork and I see only teams and groups where I am the owner. So for example, I see 14 teams and groups and the basic info about those resources, but let's focus now on guest users. So I can sort by guest users column and see which of teams where I am the owner have guest users. So for example, this one have 5 guest users. And if you want to see who are those guest users, you can simply click on the team name and drill down to details about that team. So you'll see some general info here, channels, the data about team's activity. But now let's focus on members and guests. Let's explore this to full screen. And here you can see different icons. So those ones are external users and those are internal. And you can also filter by role to check just for guest users. Okay, and here you also see some basic info about those users. So you can see, for example, when did they log in last time. You can also do management actions here. For example, you can remove the user directly from here. And of course, you can see from which domains or which companies are those users. Okay, so now we saw guest users for one team, but what if you want to see all external users in all teams where you are the owner? So let's look at a report, external users. So yeah, this report shows all the external users in teams where you are the owner. And for example, you can group by the username column here. And let's see Adele. So Adele is external user, and she has access to those 6 teams and sites. And you can see the basic info here again. So let's log in dates. You can see from which company she comes. And you can do, again, actions here. And for example, if you are not working with Adele anymore, so she left the company you are working with, and you want to remove her, you can just simply select all those sites, choose remove access from the right side, type in remove, and if I click remove access here, Adele won't have access to those teams and sites. So in just a few clicks, you can remove her access. What else you can do here? So if you want to check what your external users are doing in your environment, in your teams and groups, you can very easily do that. So let's say we want to check what Alex Wilbur is doing in Q&A team. Just select this row, and on the right side again you have user activity report, and you see all the activities performed by that external user. So let's choose different period, for example last 30 days, and here you can see that this external user generated a lot activities. So for example, he downloaded a file, external audit, she uploaded some file, and so on. And yeah, okay, so that was the user activity report. I wanted to show you also user access report. So in external users report, you could see on which teams, groups, and site external user has access, but user access report is actually more detailed. So you can see actually which level of access user has. So let's choose one external user, run the report, and we will see where Annabelle has access across my teams. Okay, so for example, here she's a member, but this one is interesting. So Annabelle has some permissions on child objects in that team, and we can expand it in more details to check the file. So she has access to this file, and access is given through sharing link. And of course, you can remove this access directly from here. Okay, so now we saw how you can check which teams and groups have guest users, who are those users, where they have access, how to remove them, and check what they have been doing in your teams. Now, let's talk about sharing. So all of us share, of course, we share a lot, both to users inside the organization and outside the organization. And later, how do we know which files did we share and to whom? So let's see an example. I'll switch to Microsoft Teams. So again, I'm in Q&A team. I have a document, for example, external project X. Let's open it in new tab. So I'm working on that document. I'm working on the project. Okay. And at some point, I want a feedback from Alex. Alex is external user, so he's not working in my company, but I worked with him in before on some projects, and I want to feedback from him. So I will share a file to Alex and ask for a feedback. Okay, so let's share a file to Alex. And now let's see how this looks in Point. So let's go back to Point. First, I need to sync the data, okay, to refresh the data and get the newly data. Okay, while this is syncing, oh, it was fast. Okay, so now let's go to reports. And let's check externally shared content report, which shows all the content shared with external users. So you can select one or more sites or teams, but let's now focus on just one team. And let's see what inside that team is shared to external users. Okay, let's expand those details. Oof, there is a lot of folders and files shared to external users. But let's look at the document I just shared. So this one, external project X. Let's expand this. And I see that this one is shared with this one. So that's the link I just created. So file is shared with Alex Wilber. And of course, I can directly from here remove his permissions. Okay, so very useful report where you can see all content shared to external users. But what if you want to be notified immediately when some external sharing activity happens? So not to check reports, but receive an alert. So we have alerts. So you can just select a specific team and configure alerts. Okay, so this one is already enabled. So I will receive an alert when some file or folder is shared with external users. There is also another alert, external user file activity. So I can receive notifications when external user deletes a file, modifies, rename, or restore a file or a folder. So I can select specific events, or I can select all those events. I can select that just site owners will be notified. Click on save, and when external user file activity happens, I will receive an email. Okay, so now we saw how to find all the content shared externally and how to configure alerts when something is shared to external user. And now let's move to the governance automation part. So with Syskit Point, admins can enable periodical access reviews and ask teams and groups owners to review access on their teams. So this means owners will receive an email and a task inside Syskit Point and will need to check access on their sites, make changes if something is not okay, and confirm there is no unwanted access. So let's look at example. Okay, I already have one access review task. So I need to perform a review for all those teams, groups, and sites where I am the owner. And now let's do a review for this remote work help team. Okay, so first I see some basic info about the team. So when it was created, when was the last activity, and who reviewed it last time. Okay, let's start the review. And here I see all the owners, members, and guests. I can filter. And the cool thing here, I can see which users are added since last review and filter by that. So I see John Wick is added since last review. And you can do some changes. So let's change the role of this user from owner to member. Okay. Okay, that's it. Everything is okay now. And now let's go to the sharing step. So this report is similar to external shared content report I showed before. So you see here which files and folders are shared to users outside your group or team. So the users who are not member of the team but have some access to some folders or files. For example, I can see that those two files are shared with users who are not members of my team. And I can also change the view to show everything grouped by user. So I can see that those users have access somewhere in my team and drill down and check on which files or folders they have access. Okay, let's say everything is okay for now and go to next step. And here is the summary of my review. And yeah, that's it. I think everything is okay now. I can write the comment and I need to confirm. And by that, I confirm there is no unwanted access in my team. Okay, so we just completed the review for one team. And there is also another automation part. So admins can also configure guest users expiration policy. They can ask to validate guest users periodically, for example, every 3 months, or when Syskit Point detects that the guest user is inactive for a defined period of time. So, for example, he didn't log in less 60 days. So this can mean you don't work with this user anymore and you want to clean it from your environment. Let's look at the example. I already have one task. I need to review Adele. And I need to decide if I want to keep or remove access for Adele. So I see Adele didn't log in last 6 months. So maybe I should remove her from my environment. Okay, but I won't do this now as yeah. Okay. And yeah, that was a guest user's expiration task. And yeah, actually, that's it. We came to the end of this session. That's everything I wanted to show you related to external sharing. So we can go now to Q&A session. Let's see if we have some questions. Okay, we have one question. Can I add guest user in my team using Syskit Point? Yeah, yeah, actually it depends. So if this guest user is already in your Azure AD, you can add this user to your team. But if it's not in your Azure AD, you cannot add it. And that is something, that feature is on the roadmap, and we will add this possibility in the future. So you will be able to request adding new external users in your environment. Okay, we have another question. Can you show who shared the file to guest user? Yes, I didn't show the report, but we have permission changes report, which shows all the data related to permission changes. So when user is added or removed from the team, on or when some file is shared with the user. So, and of course, if you configure alerts, you can also see in that alert who shared the file and when. Okay, so let's check if we have more questions. Can anyone in the organization view the reports on her teams? Yeah, but that feature is completely optional actually. So you can, by default, only admins can have access to Syskit Point, and you can enable access to collaborate. We call it collaborators, so team and group owners, and then they will be able uh, to see reports only for teams where they are the owners. Okay. Let's see other question. Okay. No, we don't have any more questions. Will this recording be available to us soon? Yeah. Everyone who's registered for this event will receive a recording of the session within a few days. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's all for today. Once again, thank you all for joining us. And I would also like to invite you to our next mini session tomorrow, where we will cover lifecycle management with Syskit Point. And if you have any further questions regarding Syskit Point or any of our products, please reach out to us using our sales@syskit.com email. It was a pleasure having you all here, and see you next time. Bye bye.